You're a giver, right? You're trying to take your gifts and superpowers and make as big of an impact as you can, right? And you're giving value to those who are in your sphere of influence and continue to refine how you utilize those gifts and superpowers, right? Well, have you ever felt exhausted from the giving you're doing? Maybe it's constantly giving in one area, but you feel guilty if you were to step back from whatever that is. Well, think about this. What if your dedication to helping others is actually diminishing your ability to make your greatest impact? When was the last time that you just stepped back and you checked if your giving was coming from a place of purpose or from obligation? I mean, if you're really trying to make an impact in your world using your gifts and superpowers, you're not going to want to miss out on this video. My name is Jake Talbert. I'm the founder and author of the GIVER method, and today we're diving into something that really is important because it affects many natural givers, and that's going to be recognizing and addressing the hidden costs of overgiving. Now, before we dive into that, if you're new here, please hit subscribe, ring that bell for notification, like the video, comment your thoughts along the way, of course. You can also find us at thegivermethod.com or thegivermethodbook.com if you wanted to get access to the book. Find us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, all those places. We want to make sure that as we provide content out through all of these channels, we don't want you to miss out on anything that's designed to help you to unlock your potential and become a true giver. Because here's the truth, like overgiving, that's not generosity. It's actually a form of self-sabotage that actually reduces what your long-term impact is. And so today I'm going to show you how to recognize when you're overgiving and how we transform it into sustainable impact using the GIVER method. Now, I keep using this term GIVER. Just for those who are new, you could go to the channel. There's all sorts of videos that break down the full GIVER method and what each letter of the acronym means. But the quick rundown is that the GIVER method is a framework designed to help people to discover and develop their gifts and superpowers so that they can provide value to those who are in their sphere of influence and make intentional impact on them. And so that every engagement, interaction, discussion is as effective and eager as possible. And the outcomes are things like deeper, more meaningful relationships, which I call relationship bridges. It's going to be things like stepping into who you're meant to be, making a greater impact. And when people develop their gifts and superpowers and they give them without expecting anything in return, the universe has a way of paying them back. So I invite you to do that. Now, when you're doing that, though, when you're becoming a giver and you're giving without expecting anything in return, that's where this idea of potentially overgiving or overdoing it could come into play. And so that's why I want to cover it today. So let's dive into how to recognize when you're overgiving and that transformation into a more sustainable impact using the GIVER method. As we go through, I'm going to be covering different principles. And as I do, I like to share some ideas around it, maybe share a story. And then, of course, I always like to share some action items that you can do. As we go through, I recommend you grab a piece of paper or open up a note, jot down your thoughts on those action items as we go, because it's great you're watching the video, and I love that you're watching the video. Please keep watching all my videos. Go watch more of them, like them, comment, all that stuff. But it's not about what happens here in the video that makes the most change for you. It's about what you do after, the action items that you put into place in your life. So they're all things that you can start doing immediately, and you'll start to see how it helps you when you're giving in this sort of a manner. So grab a piece of paper, open up a note, that way you're ready to go. Let's dive into the first principle. The first one I want to talk about is this like energy sovereignty that you have. Like this isn't just about feeling tired. It's about taking full ownership of what your energy is, your physical, your emotional, your mental, and spiritual energy. Like it recognizes energy as one of your most valuable assets in creating impact. In fact, in life, we only have three currencies: time, energy, and money. Well, there's only so much time. You can only utilize energy in so many places, and money doesn't even come into play here at this point. But just think about it that way. Those are the three currencies you have in life that you're able to give and receive from others. Well, energy is such a valuable one with that. So when you give too much of yourself without replenishing, you're going to risk depleting this really critical resource that you have inside of you. So signs of your energy sovereignty is maybe compromised include maybe physical exhaustion. Maybe it's you're unable to get good sleep. Emotional burnout after interactions, mental fog, clouds in decision making, or maybe a spiritual disconnection from whatever your purpose is. So what this is going to do is it encourages you to just look at your energy as a finite resource that is extremely important that you protect, like ensuring that you have enough for both your mission as well as your own well-being that you're doing. And so what you want to do is start observing how you spend your energy each day. Pay attention to the activities and interactions that maybe leave you drained versus those that energize you, and recognize those patterns. Take maybe whatever proactive steps you need to protect your energy by focusing on high impact and fulfilling actions. So the action item here, one of them that you could take, I believe in journaling a lot. And so in a part of journaling, what you can do is you can keep what I call an energy log. And over the next week, you want to write down those activities and interactions that you engage in each day, and then rate them. Was this activity on a scale of, maybe we'll go -5 to +5, and based on how it affects your energy, of course, +5 being high energy, -5 being highly draining. And at the end of the week, review the patterns and identify those activities that maybe consistently were replenishing you and which were depleting you, and take action. Start minimizing those that deplete the energy, and find the activities that, and start doing more of the ones that re-energize you and refill your cup of energy for that. Now, the second thing we want to talk about is understanding value-to-depletion ratio. And so what this is it's designed to measure the balance between the value you're creating for others and the toll that it takes on you. Like, if the scale tips too far into depletion, your ability to deliver meaningful value diminishes more and more. So overgiving often leads to an imbalance where your contributions are actually less effective because you're giving from a place of exhaustion or obligation. Now, this principle helps you really look at whether your efforts are sustainable and impactful or just simply draining you. So regularly assess the outcomes of your giving against the energy you're expending. Reflect, think about whether your efforts align with your core gifts and create, genuine impact for you. If you find certain activities deplete you, more than others, once again, consider adjusting the approach and letting go of these less aligned commitments that you may have. So your action item here is to choose maybe a current commitment you have and assess the value to depletion ratio. What's the purpose or expected outcome of this commitment? What are you trying to get out of it? Be very intentional, and then list the energy, the time, the resources it requires from you, and then compare it with this with both tangible and intangible value it creates for others and for yourself. And then look for that scale. If depletion is going to outweigh the value, brainstorm maybe 1 or 2 changes you could make. This includes, setting clear boundaries, reducing the level of involvement, or shifting your focus to be more aligned based off the activities you're doing. So just commit to implementing one of those changes in the week, and you'll start to immediately see those that have an impact on you and how your energy shows up, and not feeling like you're overgiving. Now, our third one is going to be developing boundary, we'll just call it boundary intelligence, special intelligence of boundary. It's not building walls. Boundaries isn't about building walls. It's your ability to create clear and flexible boundaries that protect your energy while allowing your gifts to flow as effectively as possible. Once again, we're not building barriers. We're defining where your responsibility ends and where others should begin. And without boundaries, overgiving becomes inevitable, leading to burnout and resentment. Developing this sort of a boundary, it's going to make sure that you can give intentionally and sustainably, preserving your capacity to serve. I see this a lot through a lot of different places with work, but also through church. A lot of people are very dedicated to giving and serving as a part of being in a church, and I see it time and time again where I believe in going all in on whatever it is that you're serving within that sort of a community, and at the same time, there are limits. There are times that you have to think about your own mental, physical, spiritual, emotional health as it pertains to that. And so what you want to do is you want to identify where maybe boundaries have been unclear or are getting crossed, and practice communicating your limits with kindness, of course, and firmness, and showing love to them. Boundaries aren't just about saying no. They're about really creating clarity and mutual respect in those relationships. When you do it, you'll actually notice a heightened level of relationship with those that you've been that clear with. So action item here is going to be identify whatever it is in your life, an area of your life where maybe the boundaries are unclear or you feel like they're getting crossed, and think back about how lack of boundaries affected your energy or the contributions you're doing there, and then start to draft whatever that boundary statement could be for the situation. For example, like I'm available to help on Tuesday afternoons, but I won't be, able to take on tasks beyond that time. Oftentimes I set clear boundaries because I like getting to work early so I can get off early and get home, as my boys are getting home from school. And so I like to have that boundary with, people on my team saying, hey, I'm going to be out of here by this time. And, I would love that we all respect the fact that I need to be wrapped up. We can't be asking me questions while I'm trying to walk out the door. So whatever it is, whatever your statement is, that boundary statement, like practice saying it out loud until it feels natural, and then go communicate it with the relevant person that you need to this week, both kindly, firmly, showing love and care. And then pay attention how the boundary affects your energy and the dynamics of your relationship. Now, the fourth is going to be about implementing, watch out for resentment. So you almost have to have this alert system around resentment, because like resentment, it isn't like a character flaw. It's often just a sign that you're giving beyond your capacity, or that your contributions aren't being reciprocated or appreciated in the way that you think they should be. Instead of dismissing any sort of a resentment as a negative emotion, view it as maybe valuable feedback. It's like an inner signal that you have that something needs to change, whether it's setting a boundary or communicating your needs or reevaluating your commitments or identifying, am I actually giving and providing the value that I think I'm giving to these people? And so what you want to do is, like, when you feel resentment, just pause and reflect on what triggered it. Ask yourself, like, what about this situation feels off? Am I giving more than I can sustain? Are my efforts being taken granted of? Like, use this sort of awareness to adjust, make adjustments in how or when or whom you choose to give. And so the next time, your action here is that the next time you feel resentment creeping in, like, just think of those steps. Like, let's write down a specific situation or interaction that maybe triggered that feeling. Reflect on what made you feel it. Like, was it because your efforts weren't appreciated or because you felt overcommitted? And then what's that one small, just simple action that you could take to address the issue? For example, you could have a conversation to clarify expectations or reduce your involvement or express what your needs are in that situation. So you just have to take this step, take this sort of a step with the next few days where you have it, and then monitor how addressing this sort of a root cause of resentment affects your sense of balance. Now, the fifth one is about optimizing for your impact, because what you want to do, like what this focuses on, is your efforts where they can create the greatest value without depleting you. Like, what I want you to think about is that this is a practice where you're going to be aligning your giving of your core gifts, and then, choosing high impact actions that energize you rather than spread you too thin. Optimizing your impact, you ensure that your contributions are going to remain super meaningful and super sustainable. So what you want to do here is evaluate your current commitments and identify where your unique gifts can make the most difference. Let go of any activity that could dilute your focus or drain your energy. This is going to allow you to channel any sort of efforts you have into actions that maximize impact and fulfillment, which is the whole reason we're doing this. The whole reason we are giving of our gifts and superpowers. It's why I started off the video with those sort of questions. So your action item here, write down, like, what are your top 3 gifts or superpowers and the ways that you currently apply them. And for each of them, list one commitment where you're using it effectively and maybe one where you're feeling stretched thin on it. And then reflect on how aligned each commitment is with your core values and your purpose. Like, you might need to identify one commitment that you need to deepen your focus on. Maybe there's one you need to scale back on or, delegate out. So just create a simple plan that optimizes your impact by dedicating more energy to the most aligned things and releasing or adjusting the less aligned ones. Now, our sixth thing is all about realigning reciprocity. Reciprocity. So once again, reciprocity about how I give, what I get. This balance, like it's about creating balance within those relationships. Healthy giving with gifts and superpowers involves balance, allowing yourself to receive as well, which is often hard for givers to do. I do it all the time. Like, I struggle to either ask for help or to receive when at the same time, I'm trying to give. So this sort of an idea, it's about, fostering mutual relationships where support is going to flow both ways. Like, overgiving often occurs when you take too much responsibility for others' needs and you're neglecting your own. So think about, what you want to do, or what I'm going to encourage you to do, is embrace receiving as an essential part of your sustainable giving. In order to be the best giver, you have to be a good receiver when the time is right. So what you want to do is, take stock of relationships you have and assess whether they're balanced. If you're constantly the giver, look for ways that others can contribute. Like receiving, that's not a weakness to ask for help or to receive. Like it's a way to honor the mutual exchange and strengthen relationships. Everybody has to be a giver and a receiver at different times. So what you want to do, action item here is going to be pick one of those key relationships you have where the balance of giving and receiving maybe feels uneven, and let's write down the ways you can give the persons and ways that they give to you, and then think about whether the relationship feels supportive or draining. And if it feels one-sided, identify one way to invite more reciprocity. Ask for help on a task or advice. Share your appreciation for their contributions. Encourage them to express what their needs are. Just start by little steps. Like with these relationships, take one step this week and observe how it starts to evolve for you, in how your energy shows up. Now, the seventh one is going to be about building a sustainable support system or architecting yourself in that sort of a way. Like this foundation, this is the foundation that enables you to give effectively over the long term. So it includes your self-care practices, your support network, your routines that replenish your energy. If you don't architect this, if you don't design it in that way, even the most well-intentioned givers are going to burn out. So you build this support system that ensures how you can continue to share your gifts without compromising your well-being. I already mentioned earlier, I wake up really early in the morning. I love waking up early. I generally start to wake up around 3 a.m. And I enjoy it because then I get to have all this time. Like right now, it's super early in the morning that I can spend focusing on anything I want to focus on. I can read books, I can listen to music, I can meditate, I can sit quietly, I can work, I can record videos, I can do whatever I want, but I can focus on the things that build me up and increase my energy for the day. So I've instituted something in the morning that allows me to do that, and I even have things in my nighttime routine that help me to wind down from that and help me to get prepared so I can sleep and start again the next day. So what you want to do is create a personal plan that includes what are your self-care things? Who are the trusted allies that provide you encouragement? What routines can you do that restore your energy, and treat these as non-negotiable parts of your giving practice. So what you want to do, action item here, design that system. What's your support system that identifies or addresses those three key areas we covered? What's that self-care routine? The practice that you can do. For me, it's that early waking up. Maybe it's a walk. Maybe it's journaling, mindfulness, exercise. That's number one. Number two is that support network. Choose the people, one or two people in your world that you're going to reach out to this week for encouragement and guidance. It could be a mentor, it could be a friend, family member, a fellow giver who understands your journey. And then the third one is what's your restorative ritual you do? What's that activity you do daily and weekly that helps you to restore your energy? Maybe it's a hobby, it's time in nature. Maybe it's dedicating, taking a complete break from any sort of responsibilities, turning off your phone and computer. Write down these three components in your calendar as non-negotiable appointments with yourself. Now, there's going to be some red flags. I'm just going to throw these out there. Red flags that you might be over giving. So persistent exhaustion, maybe declining, you feel there's a declining quality of your impact, you feel that resentment, you're neglecting your personal goals, maybe there's some damaged relationships or financial strain, or maybe you don't feel connected to your purpose and your values anymore. So, if you recognize these signs, what you want to do is put into plan, get a plan going immediately, implement, what's that 24-hour, how can I'm going to stop giving for 24 hours so I can clear my mind. Do that energy audit. Where am I at? What boundaries do I need to reset or reaffirm? Go and reconnect with your why and then start building that support system moving forward. You can implement these practices. You can do weekly check-ins, energy check-ins, maybe monthly boundary reviews. Quarterly, you look at your impact and assess how it's doing. And then, occasionally, very regularly, you need to be looking at how that reciprocity is happening. So remember that giving isn't about quality, it's about sustainable impact. When you honor your own limits and maintain healthy boundaries, you're going to actually increase your capacity to create meaningful change for those around you. Now, if you're ready to transform your giving, to develop those gifts and superpowers as much as possible, to prevent yourself from that depletion of energy and be more sustainable in how you're giving and really make an impact in your sphere of influence, then you're going to want to go to thegivermethod.com and join our newsletter list, or go to thegivermethodbook.com, get on the list for the book because it's coming out around Black Friday. That way you can start to get all of the exclusive tips and insights on creating as much impact as you can with those gifts and superpowers. And of course, we talk a lot about the self-doubt, the fears, or avoiding burnout as a part of that. So now, if this video resonated with you, then give it a thumbs up. Maybe share it with someone who might need to hear it. Maybe you feel they're giving too much and it's burning them out. Let's build a community where we're all sustainable givers who create lasting impact. And so until next time, please keep growing, keep giving, and remember that true giving should energize you, both as a giver and making sure that you do it as a receiver. So until next time, have a great rest of your day.